Okay, I apologize. I'll go ahead and get started. I can't record the way I wanted to, but it'll work. So, this session is not mine. This is one of the ones I went to. Eric Kurtz built this session. If you've never been or seen Eric Kurtz talk, all he does is technology skills. That's what his job is for a company called Spark, which is our equivalent to Soida up there. His website is controlaltachieve.com. And if you ever want to know how to do something, especially with Google, and you don't know how, I would say go there. Eric does a weekly class that he records, and it's live, and then he records it for all of the consortium up there. He is really phenomenal, both speaker and some of the things he presents. So if you're ever interested, I would highly recommend going to Eric's stuff. I, in general, when I'm at OATC, almost make it to every single one of his presentations, just because I know I'm bound to learn something from Eric. So this is basically his presentation that I made some slight changes to. So this is what we're going to talk about today. Some of which more than others, but we're going to talk about some of the problems that comes along with AI, some of the things we can do about those problems, and some of the things that we need to think about as educators as AI evolves more and more. There is no way for us to prevent students from using AI, first of all. We can try to block sites here at school, but unfortunately AI can tell students how to avoid those blocks so that they can get to the AI anyway. So it behooves us to embrace the AI a little more and to try to teach them the ethical use of AI, just like we had to do when people could go and Google a paper and had to teach them that you can't just copy somebody else's paper and submit it as your own. You also can't go and submit the whole thing from AI and do it as your own as well.
All right, in full session, this is Daniel. How may I help you?
So the first concern is obviously for all this is the academic integrity part of
I thought it might be that cuts out. He's presenting right now, but I will try and let him know.
If you haven't had a student cheat yet using AI,
I know, that's why I'm telling you.
Because
you're really
they
loud.
all have tried at some point by this time.
Okay, I will let him know.
I think we didn't even know prior to last year. I didn't know prior to last year when I went, what?
This is no longer able to access the internet. It's gone down.
Check your internet connection.
Just the messenger. And my ear was blown off. So you're welcome.
I'm going to pause and I'm going to run down. Okay, I'm going to have to run back down there again just, because she rebooted her PC and I'm not going to sit there and watch it moving while you're all down here. So, anyways, there's some things were brought up. Data privacy concerns I hadn't really thought about till they talked about it, because if we're going to use AI as teachers, we need to make sure that we don't put identifiable information into the AI on the students. If I'm having the AI give me feedback on a student's paper, make sure you don't grab the part that has their name in the paper. They showed at one point where teachers were just submitting the entire paper, but it has all their information in there as well, so we need to make sure that we're paying attention to what we're putting in there, not just on ourselves, but on our students if we're going to use those as tools as teachers as well. It's amazing how inaccurate and unreliable AI can be, and it's positive. It's like talking to a 21-year-old. They're positive. You may have a 21-year-old child, you know what I'm talking about. They're positive on their answer, even though they're absolutely wrong on their answer, because they just think they're right. AI is the same way. When it gives you an answer, it's 100% true. As far as AI knows, it is not 100% reliable. AI can be extremely biased. I get a good picture showing AI bias. It is based on what's been read by and fed into the AI, and a majority of information that is available to AI was input by white dudes. And so things are slanted toward white dude views. Pictures, information, everything. So you have to use that have to use your own filters on that. And then the last one is how easy it is to impersonate people, images, audio, and video with AI right now, which can be a positive thing. There's AI out there that lets you put in that you would like to have a conversation with Abraham Lincoln in your class, and Abraham Lincoln answers all the questions from the AI's perspective as if it was Abraham Lincoln. You can set those up, which is kind of cool for a social studies teacher or a English teacher to be able to talk to an author or talk to someone who's deceased, but it's also kind of creepy if that person's alive and you're talking to someone who we know that isn't that person. And I'm broken. As far as the integrity side goes, there's a lot of black and white, or there's very little black and white, but there's a lot of gray. We know that the most acceptable thing to do is to write the paper yourself and use absolutely no AI. And we know the most unacceptable thing to do is have AI write your paper, put your name on it, and turn it in, which many of us have already had happen, that the student just, I wrote it because I asked AI to write it. The gray areas are all the things in between that we as educators need to decide what is allowed in our class. And my allowed is going to be different than a math teacher's allowed and an English teacher's allowed, and it may be different between grade levels on what is allowed or not. To me, 100% allowed. Use AI to spell check and ask for grammar assistance. Absolutely, please do. I'm tired of reading your crap the way you wrote it. But to an English teacher, this might be 100% no. I want you to know how to check the grammar and how to check the spelling. I don't want you to use AI. So that's one of those things that what is my policy in my class? And a lot of these things are going to have to be written into our own syllabus so it's clear for the student in this class that what is allowed and what isn't. Can I use AI for feedback on my tone and style? Maybe, maybe not. Again, that depends on what subject level and what grade level I'm teaching. If I'm telling you to write it with a certain tone, and you use AI to say, what is the tone of this? And it says it's wrong and you fix it, I'm happy. But that may not be the case in Mrs. Wolf's English class. Can you use AI to write the outline of the paper? If you know that you're going to do a paper on To Kill a Mockingbird, can you have it do the outline before I do the writing? I think many people would say yes, you can. But again, that depends on your class style. Can you use AI to answer questions? That's a gray area because they may answer the question and it will be 100% wrong, or they may answer the question and it may be 100% right. Can you use AI to check for plagiarism? And this is one of the feedbacks that's for us to check whether it's plagiarized. The feedback from this conference, however, was the answer is no, because it is very, very inaccurate. The feedback from this conference was we know what our writers write like. We've read their stuff that they've written in class. Doesn't look like it's nothing they've done. Then I have a feeling I'm got missing bomb here. Mr. Poole, can I help you? Hello? We have 1 second to reply. Okay, so the next one on here is, can you use AI to find informational sources? Again, me, yes. Can you trust them? You have to look. My experience, and I'm going to do this a little bit in my one class on best AIs later on today, I put the same prompt into 4 different AIs, and only one of them gave me actual sources that were true, accurate, and worked. Only one. And it wasn't the one I thought it was going to be. I tried it with a bunch of different inputs. So can you use it for sources? Maybe, but you have to cross-check it yourself. Can you use it to help you brainstorm? That's one of the, I think that's an absolute yes that I would in my class, but again, maybe in yours, maybe not. Can you use it to write a rough draft? And to me, this should be way over there on this side. I don't think so, because what student is going to use that as their final draft? So I don't know that I would ever use it to write the rough draft. Would I use it to proof the rough draft? Then I'm more inclined to say yes, but using it to write a rough draft, probably more of a black area. Have it provide feedback to help improve the paper. I'm a 100% yes on that one. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't. Luke uses Grammarly as part of his IEP, and Grammarly is an AI, whether people think it is or not. It gives you feedback on spelling and word choice and grammar. So in many cases, people already have it built in. They just don't know that they're using AI to do that. If I submitted that same paper into ChatGPT and said, give me feedback on and grade this paper, and then I made the changes, I again think that's perfectly fine. The only difference between that and giving it to Mr. Trick and having him do the final is I get a better grade and he reads a better product, but I still made the changes, hopefully. So, but these are things we have to teach the student. You can't make them rewrite it. You can make them give you feedback on it to be acceptable. In my mind. Don't do that to me, Dale. Can we use AI to summarize content being read? I would say yes. That's me. That's why it's on this edge. Because maybe I'm on an IEP for reading at a 3rd grade level, so the teacher even takes the AI and says, please rewrite a summary of this at a 3rd grade reading level. I mean, it's something we would do, so why can't they do it to make the reading better for themselves? Is that AI's cliff notes? Nah, maybe. Maybe they do that to avoid reading the whole paper, and that's where it becomes maybe a gray area on that side. Can you use AI to paraphrase or rewrite portions of your writing? That's a gray area. Depends on whether it's a writing course or not. And can you use it to properly cite and reference sources? I haven't seen it do it properly yet, but things like EasyBib kind of do that for us already. I'm a big teacher. I don't teach my kids how to do MLA. I teach my kids how to use MLA generating tools because I think realistically, none of us remember, unless we're an English teacher, 15 years later, how to do it off the top of our head, but I easily know how to go on to EasyBib and get it to do it. So that's my personal thing. So that is only a gray area because I don't know that it's right all the time. These are the kind of things that we have to think about in our own class. Bob asked me the other day, should we have, actually Mike, should we have a AI policy in our student handbook? My answer is yes, but it has to be general because many of these things are going to be class dependent on your syllabus, and I think it needs to say the black and the white, and it needs to say these areas will be defined by the teacher's syllabus itself, kind of thing. They need to know that's cheating, which I think they have. Right? I mean, does anybody realistically think, well, I'm the one who came up with the prompt? You know, okay, yeah, that's still.
Yeah.
You copied it. Yeah, that's right. It's like, actually, you copied my little assignment, yeah. So I think we do need to have that clear, but at the same time, I think these things we need to think about how can we change our own core syllabi to make sure that we're setting those out for our students. Yellow is messing up. As far as guideline goes, I just really said all this. They need to be by grade level and subject matter. A lot of schools have teams of 8th grade teachers that work together on theirs, and I'm not saying those school teams can't, but I still think the English teacher and the social studies teachers are going to have not the same policy on many of those things. But if you do it by grade level, that may be more understandable, at least at the middle school level. But I think at the high school level, we're teaching across different grade levels and different disciplines enough that we really need to think about those things in our own subject. We might meet with the other subject matter experts as a team to say, hey, what are you doing? And bounce ideas off each other, but we need to make sure it's clear what we're allowing in our classroom. I think we should set out what tools we think they should use. And in one of my classes, there are, by the way, tons of educational AI tools now that are supposed to be safer for our kids, some of which are great, and some of which are not any better than Googling something, in my opinion. They haven't come along enough. We need to decide if we're going to use AI as a teaching tool in our classroom. There are some great AI tools that we can show them in every single subject matter. You can have AI teach you how to do a math problem, because it's not about copying the answer. It's about, if I don't understand it and I've been given homework and you're asking me to do 20 math problems and I have no idea how to do the first one, if I teach the kids how to use AI and I use the right one that doesn't just go boop and give us the answer, but actually talks through, just like I was sitting there with them, how to do the answer, are we giving them supplemental educational material? And I truly believe that we are. As long as we use the right one, and that's why I think it's important that we look at those tools and teach them to use the right tool, not just the one that gives them the answer, but the one that teaches them how the answer is gotten to, kind of thing, is important. And like I said, there's AI tools that let you literally talk to an author or a historical figure, and it's kind of an interactive, cool way for kids to learn about the Gettysburg Address or anything else. They're actually interacting with an AI, but an AI that acts like it's that historical figure and gives us information on that. So we have to come up with our own guidelines and really look at what we can do in our classroom that we want to teach them how to do. And I really do think we have to teach them how to use it responsibly, so that they don't go out in the world and pass things off as theirs that aren't theirs. But B, all you, I'm sure, have had interaction with my last intern, Maverick Peck. He is a paid member of the premium level of ChatGPT, and he routinely complains to me that nobody else at work is using ChatGPT, and he's getting 10 times more work orders done because he doesn't know how to do it. ChatGPT does, and he just gets the thing done, and then he moves on. And people have spent days researching something that they could ask ChatGPT about. AI isn't going to take our jobs. The people who know how to use AI are going to be the ones that take jobs. Just because, and not in our world, but in the bigger world outside of education, if they don't learn how to use it and don't realize it's just a fantastic tool, they may be left behind with some jobs. So we already have policies in our classroom for technology. We just need to incorporate AI guidelines inside those policies. And we have to address those things. How are we going to use them? When are we going to use them? Are we going to change the way we teach so that we're writing in the classroom, or we only allow one kind of writing in the classroom, which is one of the tools I'm going to show you here in a minute that allows you to see students typing as they type on a paper if you have them do it as a Google Doc, with a tool called Brisk, which I thought was awesome, and it's free. And I literally get to play them back, and it shows every single time they copy and paste from somewhere, and it makes it really obvious. So, but it only works if we change a little bit of how we do things. They have to write in Google Docs, and it has to be shared to me with editing permissions, and then I can see everything, whether they cheated or not, during the writing process. So, which changes the way we do some of our work in our classroom. And then I already mentioned the data privacy thing. How are we going to look at those things, and how are we going to do things to teach them that they need to not put too much information about themselves into an AI when they do things as well. All those things help us generate our class guidelines, and I've got some sample class guidelines, and I'm going to send this link out for this, so you can just go straight to those links as well. There's a bunch of people who have already built AI guidelines, and amazingly enough, ChatGPT is wonderful at helping you make class guidelines. You can literally go in ChatGPT, I'd like to have AI guidelines for a 9th grade English class and responsible use, and it makes a wonderful set of AI guidelines that you can then edit and use as well. This is where those links are, and like I said, I'm going to go ahead and send that out to you. This is a Google Doc of tons and tons of other people's, many of them college level, and I don't find those useful whatsoever, but some of them are high school level to give you some idea of what you might want to put into your personal guidelines as you go. So we have to talk with our students on the positive and the negatives of AI and how we're going to use those. Specifically academic integrity, like I said, and you all know, they know what cheating is, but sometimes they don't know what cheating is. They justify to themselves that what I just did, oh, that wasn't really cheating. I did, do some of the work. Well, what level and where that is. And we need to talk to them about how inaccurate and unreliable AI can be, and that we need to use things with sources. And of the ones that I found, by the way, ChatGPT never gave me a source that worked, never gave me a video that worked, never gave me an image that worked. On the free version. I don't know about the paid version, but I'm on the free version. However, Microsoft's every time gave me links that worked, every time that gave me video worked, and every time that gave me images that worked, which I was actually kind of blown away by when I went and tried all this. Microsoft's is free, and it's accurate, and it will do some really cool things if you pay the premium for theirs. I actually looked into it. I thought, wow, this is some cool stuff. It'll make PowerPoints for you in Office 365. It'll make all kinds of documents and stuff for you. It's $30 per month per person for their corporate level thing. So we're not going to get that anytime soon. I really thought for education it might be cheaper, and when I got the quote, I'm like, they're like, oh, you can just click on it right here and give us your credit card, and we'll start billing right away. I'm like, no. So some of the premium features are premium added. That's the biggest price, by the way. None of them are more expensive than Microsoft's, which I find to be annoying for educational accounts, because if they want people to use them in the real world, you make them cheap for education, so they get dependent on you. So they go out and go, I have to have it. You don't make it $30 a month for an educational account. I mean, if you look at the price for that, if we did it for just all the teachers, would be more than we spend on anything else in the school. Let alone if we wanted to do it and say that students can use it too. That would be crazy. And that's $30 per month. I thought it was going to be per year, and I was like, that's expensive. But that I was like, per month. Yeah. So what is a Microsoft thing? Just use the instrument. I did too. I just used it last night. It's in my presentation.
Is it the big one?
No, it's not the big one. Copilot. There we go. Thank you. Yeah, Microsoft Copilot. And it was really good. I honestly did not expect it to be as good as it was. So, ChatGPT is really good at non-existent links. That if you follow this link, it would go absolutely nowhere. I mean, it acts like it's going to work. It gives us, say, please give me YouTube videos related to this, and it will give you YouTube videos. And I have never once had one open to a YouTube video. Copilot, every single one that I tried yesterday did. So sometimes it's extremely wrong, and that's something that has to be checked on. Just like when we say you have to have three sources, and when you go and check something on the internet, even if they use an AI, they need to find at least 2 other sources to me to back up what the AI just said. By the way, it's not called Bard anymore. Google just switched Bard to Gemini. I don't know why they decided to change the name, but they both make mistakes, the same kind of mistakes. And you can see this one, math, which is crazy to me. AI is terrible at math, so you would think that would be the thing that would be best at. So it's just kind of funny that you can ask it things like that and can't figure out things like that. And they'll have just stuff missing inside the answers that it can't find the answer to as well. It'll work with silent B and B5 says a silent B. Okay, no, you are incorrect, sir. So Gemini, which was Bard, lets you do searches, but again, we have to double check to make sure that the answer to those searches are accurate, which is why some of the new educational-based tools, one of which I'm going to teach on this afternoon, called Diffit, and I'm actually already have a quote to buy us the premium because their premium was $1,200 for the entire district for the entire year. That's swallowable, not $30 per person per month. And it's pretty cool, and it gives us sources that actually work and stuff. So some of the educational based ones are doing a better job than the generic ones like ChatGPT and Gemini. However, ChatGPT still does a great thing on a lot of stuff. I don't want to say, they were the start of all of it, at least the start of rolling it out so the rest of us mortals could see it. And they're still, especially with the premium version, supposedly way ahead. If you don't know the difference on ChatGPT between free and premium, the free version looks at 2 years back on. It is not current. So if you were asking about something that happened in 2023, the free version doesn't even know that 2023 even happened yet. Whereas the paid version does. It's constantly updating itself every single month with current information. Gemini and Copilot are supposed to be up to date, but I have not found Gemini to be as reliable as Copilot, just based on the stuff I've done. So this is an example of AI bias. This student put in that they wanted to make their picture more professional looking, and AI altered the picture for them to make it more professional looking, and AI felt like professional meant Caucasian, and so changed that person's picture to make them blue-eyed Caucasian, because that is more professional than an Asian person. That's an example of AI bias. So, and it's a really good example of AI bias, because AI is looking at historically tons and tons of information, majority of which is white dude information. It answers like a white dude. I don't know, I think I can say that. So you have to realize that bias exists out there.
It's on record. My gusto now said revised, but some of B also said revised.
So there's tons of ways we could use AI, and these are some of the links that Eric had. I'm going to go ahead and click on them from back here. This is a list of websites and stuff that you can teach students how they can work on things. It says in daily life, and then lessons from Common Sense Media on AI. And these are things to teach students how to use AI responsibly. And then this one is on a resource link on AI curriculum on how to teach AI in the school. This one particularly is on what ChatGPT is, and then it has lesson ideas. And again, I'm going to send out this link to this show. In fact, when I send out the link, I'm going to send out Eric's link. I edited some of it to take some of it out, but I'm going to put those things back in there and just send out Eric's original link later on today. So what can we do to solve issues? First thing we do is think about flipping our classroom more and doing those things in classroom. In the past, historically, we have them write at home, we have them do their math homework at home. How can we do it differently so they're doing it in front of us and we're teaching them to do it responsibly? And that's really interactive, in-person writing, using our interactive whiteboard to have students come up and do math problems in front of the class. Obviously, they can't cheat on that. Oral presentations, I already do most of my classes for research projects that they have to present orally. And oral examinations, obviously just ask them the questions. Many of us do that as formative assessment anyway. And then we can basically, what things can we do and change in our classroom to have them do more things live so that it's harder to cheat. I should put on the bottom of this Land School. It's one of the things that if you haven't started using Land School and you're in a classroom with iPads, with laptops, having them up to see what tools they're going to, and you can go, if you see a student on a website that you don't want them on, you can just put it in and block it right there, and then they stop using that website. You don't even need to call them out and say, Boggs, get off ChatGPT. You can just go in and put on Land School that ChatGPT is blocked, and then they just won't get it from then on. So I would say Land School is a big help for us. Yes, it has a delay on it, but that's because we're on Wi-Fi and that's always going to happen. But if you keep them up on your secondary monitor, most classrooms now have 2 monitors, I should say many. If you only have 1 monitor, I have lots of monitors. If you went into Jack Haversall's HVAC closet, you would think we were having a monitor sale back there, because I didn't get rid of any of them when we switched to laptops. All kinds of shelves in the back of the HVAC closet. So if you only have 1 and you want a second one to put up Land School on, which is what I do during a test, my secondary monitor has Land School on with every student on there the whole time, and I know whether they've gotten off task. I have it up all the time. You can obviously still walk around in a classroom. You don't have to use Land School if you're a mover. That works just as well, but Land School is a nice way to keep track of students. One of the big things with AI that scares me is the problem-solving skills that younger students may end up losing. I think we need to teach them how to use it, but at the same time, they need to be able to solve problems on their own, not just with it, because they won't know the questions to ask in AI if they don't know how to solve problems in the first place. So other assessments that we can do, group projects, peer teaching, there's all kinds of ways that we can try to make a student more engaged without using AI in our classroom. And these are just some of the examples from Eric Kurtz's assignments, or his presentation. So these are some ideas of how we can integrate AI into assignments that we may already do to teach the responsible use of AI. It says have AI write an essay, report, poem, etc., and have a student evaluate it for its content and have them try to find out what's wrong, which means they're doing research on something somebody else said to try to find the proper resources for where this came from, and in doing so, they end up doing the research anyway. It's just kind of a backwards way to trick them. Have AI write a story, and then they take turns. This is what the co-writing is. They take turns writing lines with the AI. Having a debate with an AI. I think this goes to one of those. Let's see if this comes up to that. No, this doesn't go to the actual site, but this is a example of a prompt on debating with the AI on having basically an argument with the AI to try to get them to think about the subject at hand, and to basically use the AI as a sounding board on an argument. And then I think this one must go to the AI. Let's see if I can get to it. No, that goes to his. I thought I had a link straight to the. I apologize on this. It's part of doing somebody else's presentation. I don't actually know where every single one of the links goes. I'll try to find that one now. It was a pretty neat video that they had on basically interviewing an AI as if it was a person from history, and doing the paper. They did a paper based on an interview with Lincoln on the one that he showed, where the student just asked the AI questions, and the AI had to respond as if he was. By the way, those links are good. But ChatGPT now has a button at the bottom for citing one that you do. So when you ask ChatGPT a question, it now has a cite thing to use to cite ChatGPT for the thing that you just had ChatGPT for. And I think that's what they're going to start. I think all the AIs will eventually get there where you can cite the AI more easily. There's nothing wrong with using it as a resource as long as they cite it just like everything else. And we need to teach students to make sure they cite those properly. I already said land school to me is our easiest one here. If you're a K through 4 teacher, you have the iPad app that lets you watch the student. I don't know that that's as big a deal on K through 4, but I don't know if that's your teacher. So. Or do they? Okay. So it is. So and they can do the same thing. They have the same thing like Land School on their iPads. They can do the same thing. The students. The big thing that they talked about is if we have students right in front of us, we know how they write, and we should be able to pretty easily identify if someone wrote something incorrectly or not. I'm gonna go ahead. Do we go to Brisk here? I can't remember. It talked about how AI detectors are extremely inaccurate. And although last year I talked about AI detectors, they said that they have gotten, because AI has gotten better, detecting it has gotten worse. So it's harder to be reliable, and if you can't go and give a kid a 0 on an assignment and kick them out of school on an 85% probability that it was right. And that's what they're finding. The AI detectors are right between 75 and 85% of the time. That's not enough to ruin somebody's life over. You know, it would have to be 99% effective to me to be a really good idea of how good the detector is. So OpenAI turned off theirs in 2023 because of the fact of how wrong it was. So they just stopped having their own AI detection thing that they had before. Version history is cool, but Brisk is cooler. Version history, if you have the student share with you their paper and they wrote it, you can kind of see stuff. I'm going to bring up a Brisk paper that I had Luke share one with me. Let's see if I can find it to show you what Brisk looks like when you're using it to detect whether someone has cheated yet. I'm bringing it up on the other page. Just, you know, Draftback is one too, but I thought Brisk was pretty awesome.
This is an extension, Brian.
Yeah, Brisk is a free extension. I'm going to just make this full while I bring up the actual paper from Luke. I had him share something with me. Just.
Brian, on the version history, when does it create a new version?
Every single time you stop typing, it does.
Okay.
So you can, if you bring up version history, you can say more history and go down deeper and deeper and deeper. It by default does it every few minutes, but you can look down to it for every single second. So this is a paper Luke did for Ms. Martin. And I can go and hit the inspect writing tool, and I can hit replay on his, and it will go through and literally show me, and it plays at, oh, I've already gone to the end, sorry. Let me start from the beginning. Come on, go. Made it at one pace.
One pace.
This is the one. This is the one I wanted to show you anyway. Let's try to look at this. Where's the one he shared me? That was it. It was. I should have opened it up again. This, by the way, this is what he wants for the one I was showing the video games was. Well, maybe that was the one. I thought that was the one he wanted for his birthday. this is the right one. Okay, I'll bring this one up. Okay, so it says by the way, that one paste was just, he started with an old paper, and then you can see if you put play, he starts with an old paper, and then he goes and edits the old paper because he just didn't want to have to remember how to do MLA. So he took an old paper, and then pasted the whole paper in, and then he starts typing. I got it on 60 time, by the way, you can't type this way. So you can literally see as he's working on it, okay, he's thinking here, and then he started typing again. With Brisk, if you have a question and you have him share it with you as an editable file, Brisk is a free extension that you can put on there, then you have the ability to go and look at every single time they paste, every single time they type, and see that they actually worked on the paper. So we can see that Luke is actually typing in here as he's working on the paper, and there's not a lot of question on his, because if we go to the end, I think the only paste was the initial paste in old paper, so I know what MLA looks like. But you can see that he typed 4,139 times. It took him 3 hours and 19 minutes to write this paper, and the one paste that he had was just the initial one that he deleted the whole paper in. So you can literally see whether a student cheated or not with a tool like Brisk. Again, it's just a Chrome add-on. They have to share the paper with you in edit mode, which they also have to do in order to use revision history. You can't see revision history on it. So that may become something that we have to think about doing in our writing. That yes, now you have to write it in Google Doc, and you have to share it with me as an editable thing, so that we can go and see this thing. How am I doing on time? I'm really at the end. All right. What time is this one supposed to end?
9:20.
Oh, okay. Probably good, like I said, to make sure that's in the syllabus. Many of us already send our syllabus home to help educate parents about those tools. We may even want to have a email to parents. These are the acceptable tools for my classroom. All of the tools are not, unless they talk to me and it's approved or something like that. But we have to have those conversations with both our students and our parents in order to make sure they're in the loop. There's a bunch of different AI books. He recommended getting none of them. He said, I bought these AI books, I read them, and the minute I finished reading one, it wasn't true anymore because AI is changing too fast. So it's better to subscribe to a YouTube or a blog that you kind of can stay up with if you were inclined to. I'm going to try to do that. Try to make a time every week that I go and look for those new things, more as a gotcha for us, because what I don't want is us to get caught kind of blindsided, which I kind of felt like last year when I learned about ChatGPT. Maverick had said, you've got to look at ChatGPT, it's awesome. He had just said that like a month earlier, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. And then I go to the conference, I'm like, oh no. So there's all kinds of YouTube channels like Eric Kurtz that has all kinds of AI stuff out there. He's got a whole section of his that goes into AI, and there's all kinds. But he said really the books are the ones that are the worst because they don't stay up to it's old news by the time it's in a book because AI is changing so fast. I showed you that one picture on the intro on all the different tools. There's so many tools, and that was the thing. My head was on fire by the end of the day at OETC because I couldn't believe how many things had come out in the 1 year. Some of them are awesome, particularly for IEP and 504 kids. There are tools that just break lessons down into little tiny itsy-bitsy pieces so you can give them smaller chunks of assignments. That's what the Goblin tool does. All it does is break things. You can put in an assignment and tell it how many parts you want it to have, and it will break it down into more digestible parts for those kids who can't read all the way through directions and stuff. This is just saying they're giving permission to use this. So I know that was a lot of information, but it's it was intended as stuff we need to think about. Particularly the one with all the different parts, what's gray and what's not. That was what I took away from this presentation the most, although I loved Brisk. I thought that was great. I'm going to use that. just because I think we really, really have to think about how we're going to handle AI moving forward. And I said that last year, and I was not ready for all the things that came out in 1 year. There are some really cool educational design ones. There's one called Magic School AI. I was really excited about them. They just gave me their quote. Thank you, sir. They're pricing out of, they wanted, way too much money to do it. And I just lost the premium feature last week, and I thought it was awesome. I said, hey, can I have premium through Friday so that I can teach it to my staff? And I've emailed them 5 times now, and they still have not responded. I'm like, well, that doesn't bode well for your customer support in the first place. You haven't even responded, except for to give me a quote that was extremely expensive. Yeah. $10 per kid per year plus another $2,000 for setup every single year was like, that was expensive. Whereas it was $1,200. And I thought, okay, and they were less than just the setup charge. And I'm like, why do you need to charge me a setup charge every single year? Didn't you just do that the first year?
Wasn't good enough.
So
Wasn't good
It's
enough.
constantly
it's like maybe you guys
Right,
should have
it's
an AI to
constantly
help
changing.
with this.
We got constantly updated.
Does anybody have any questions that I might be able to answer?
What does AI stand for?
I hope so.
You need AI. So what's different? All right, can you give me a
Diffit is
quick
an
version?
educational AI tool that builds lessons based on grade levels and stuff. It is, I think it's my third session.
So you know, Ron,
Yeah.
so you know your description for this session was the same as your next session.
Yeah.
Was it still? I thought I fixed
Yeah,
it.
so today says, join me for introduction to Diffit Magic School AI. These are the top 2 schools from the quiz.
That's what it says underneath this one?
Yeah. So that's okay.
How did no one correct me on that?
I thought you were getting there, man.
So this is Diffit at web.diffit.me, and it is it's free for teachers. So you just click sign on. You sign on with your Google account. The cool thing about Diffit is it's like ChatGPT, but it's made for education. So I can just say here that I want to do. I'm going to say 9th grade, and I'm going to say computer hard drives, which is the section I'm on in my class. I can type maybe. Oh. Maybe you want to type back here. I think it's because Dan's between me and the receiver.
Oh! Are you fetching?
I'm not. So you just do that. There's 3 different things it'll do. The first one is this one. So you can give it a subject, and it builds a lesson based on the subject. You can also give it a resource, a YouTube or text or a PDF, and say build a lesson based on this. And you can say, based on these resources, build a lesson based on these resources. So it's much more it's not as quick, you can see, but it gives me tons of stuff. It gives me a lesson. It gives me a summary. It gives me questions. It's almost done.
But it's only educational, or is
Well, it's made for education as opposed to the other one. Okay, so here it's loading slowly. Okay, so it gives me, by the way, it gives me a bunch of pictures that I can use for my lesson. A whole bunch of different visuals that I can use. It gives me a reading passage that I can change grade levels on if I want to. I can edit it if I want to change it because I don't like something it said, and then I can copy it into something else. It gives me a summary of that, which again I can edit and copy if I want to. It gives me key vocabulary words, which I can say add. So if I'm like, oh, you know what, you didn't give me the word, where's my add vocabulary words? I want you to add SATA and M.2 and EIDE in my vocabulary words. Okay, so it's going to go then add those vocabulary words to my vocabulary list and put the words in there. So if I've got a lesson like Luke, part of this IEP was to be given any new vocabulary prior to learning something new. You can just put the lesson in there, it makes a vocabulary list, and you go and email that to the student. I can add as many words as I want to. I could just say, hey, I want to add a vocabulary. I just want one, add another word. And it's just going to find a word related to that and go ahead and throw it in there. So it's got that. It automatically gives me multiple choice questions. I can say, you know what, I really want more than that, or I can say how many options I want. I can add my own questions. It gives me short answer questions. I can say, you know what, I want more. Give me 2 more short answer questions to choose from here. And then, and it gives open-ended prompts. So it builds all those things that fast. That's all part of the free. Okay. Now, part of the premium is to get the activities. So when I say get student activities, then it has a bajillion, and at the bottom it says, could you please make more based on this? All these activities are then ones that you can do. So free lets you always do it as this lesson as a PDF. The other ones are like, oh, you know what, I'm going to do a Google quiz. Can you make this into a Google quiz? And you hit that, and it makes all those questions into a Google quiz that I can send out to my kids.
Does it do it for Moodle quizzes?
You would be able to export it and import it into Moodle, yes.
That's something.
But I think, let me kind of scroll down because it's got, this is why I like this one. All these are things, I gotta look at the right screen. All these are output things that I can do directly into Google. So if I want to go and have them, like, I want to do this vocabulary one, I hit this, and it's going to say, okay, here's the reading. I'm going to go ahead and make a slide assignment for you. And it integrates right with Google Slides and makes this for me, which is why I really like Diffit. I think we should pay for the paid one, because it does all these extra things once I've generated the lesson that then I don't have to go and make for myself. So I just opened that. Google Slides, and it became all this that I can use as a presentation or print out, do handouts in my class. All this stuff just got made that quickly for me out of Diffit. The other tools at Diffit, if I go back up here to the top, I'm going to start new, are the video and the text tools. So this one I just showed you was literally anything. If I've got a YouTube video of a movie that I watch in class, I could go and just give them the URL, and it will come up with all the things that just came up, a summary, the writing, the questions, everything based on that YouTube video, or any text that I want to drop in there. So if I've got my textbook chapter 3 scanned, I can take and drop chapter 3 in there and save, which would be too much for one lesson, right? But you can take any section of text, drop it in there and say, make me a lesson on this. And the idea is not that this replaces this, it gives us more ideas on stuff. That maybe, Bob's is the only one teaching health. He has nobody else to go to on ideas, how can I teach this differently in health? But he can put his text right in here, and it's going to give him a bunch of ideas, and if he doesn't like it, you can say, regenerate. Regenerate. Yeah, oh, I like that idea. So that's why I like this tool, because it was based, and like, it defaults to 5th grade every single time, but you can pick any grade level in here, if that works. You can pick any grade level in here that you want to for your material, and say, I want to do it whatever. I was trying to block it. Yeah. I need a doggle. Okay, I'm definitely done now, and I'm sorry the description was not the description that everybody thought they were coming to.
Yeah, you covered it. You covered it, yeah.
That was the most important thing. That tool was the best one I took away.
You guys were happy.
I really thought she was volunteering. She said, what? I'm like, you said, I asked you. Yeah, I said yes, I would, but I think I said it like, yeah, I will. Well, you need to be clear. I'm an IT guy. We don't get all those cues.